Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten a lot of questions about what my life is like living here in the province. When I put out a budget, a realistic budget of $600 a month, people say, oh, you can't live like that. Oh, you can exist, but you're not really living. Don't even think about coming to the Philippines unless you're making close to $3,000 a month. You got to be kidding. How can anybody tell you what is going to make you happy? Then there's the yahoos that go, I like the finer things in life. Those guys know nothing about me. I wanted to tell them a little story about one night we were going to play some backgammon. So we went downstairs to the wine cellar and got a bottle of 1928 Chateau Clement. And then we went to the humidor, about the size of a large refrigerator, and picked out some Cuban cigars. Those guys wouldn't know Cuban cigars from a Tiparello. And that bottle of wine today is just under $1,000. We were just college students. I'll tell you what, by now I'm way over that stuff. First minimalist I ever met was a trust fund baby who was going to come into about 50 million bucks. That was a lot of money back in those days. A lot of these guys, I think, come to the Philippines because they know they can live a good lifestyle. So what they do is they set themselves up in BGC in some of those areas, a couple massages, manicure, pedicure, hire a driver a few times, and they think they're the Rockefellers. And, you know, they'd never been to a high tea before, and now they're an expert on culture. Those guys didn't live that way back in America before they got here. The only time they had class is when they sat there for detention. Now, I'm here to tell you that after a couple of years in the Philippines, you know, my budget worked out to about $600 a month. I made a very detailed video about that, going shopping for food at various places, and I even showed a place that was for rent for 5,000 pesos a month, $95. Now, that $600 a month budget is living a lifestyle exactly as it was in San Diego before I left. Then I'm listening to a guy who I like his videos. I watch a lot of them. And he's talking about somebody who said they could live on $600 a month, and there's no way that person is basically nuts. Then I remember he had done a video, probably about a month before, and where he talked about his budget was not all that much different than mine. So I went back and looked at his budget, and his budget came out to about $1,250 a month. But he supported family to the tune of about 15,000 pesos and paid about 25,000 a month in rent. And he's married. Now, the place next to me was $5,000 a month, so if you add back 20 plus what he's spent on his family, that's about $700 a month, and he's married. Now, the place next door to me is a 2-bedroom with aircon, fully furnished, big screen TV, etc., etc. And that was only 5,000 pesos or $95 a month. Now, I have a better lifestyle here than I had when I was living in San Diego, and that's to be expected. I never really went out to dinner there anymore, much or lunch, because I couldn't afford to any longer. Now here I don't go out that much because there's not a lot of places to go. I do enjoy a lot of street food, the barbecue and that type of thing. I did a video in Baguio about the street food. You can go back and see what I'm talking about. Now in a lot of their videos they talk about going out to dinner multiple times a week, lunch multiple times a week, and coffee almost every day. And I think that's awesome. Their budget's somewhere between $2,200 and $2,500 a month. What they don't tell you is what their lifestyle would be like back in America at $2,200 to $2,500 a month. It wouldn't be anything like it is here. You know, a lot of guys in their videos will talk about setting money aside for this and setting aside money for that, and savings and different kinds of things. If they were in America at $2,200 to $2,500 a month, they wouldn't be able to save money for anything or set it aside. Now, a lot of these guys, they're just talking about what their budgets are here now. They're not telling you shouldn't come here. I'm going to change the subject for just a minute. This is Walking Street. Now, the reason that I have it here is I'm going to walk all the way from one end to the other. This is such a short, small street for all of the attention that it gets throughout the world. I can't believe a lot of times people are talking about Walking Street. Wait till you see exactly what it is. I'm walking from one end to the other, like a couple football fields. That's all there is to it. So that's why I took this video the other day to show you guys, or for those who have never been here, exactly what Walking Street is. This is it. Now, keep in mind that you see fresh concrete on either side, and this is not quite finished yet. They will be putting another lane in the middle here, and it'll be all brand new street from one end to the other. Anyway, getting back to the story, there are those who will tell you shouldn't come here unless you make a certain amount of money. Now, I know quite a few people, because I get messages from them all the time, that live throughout the Philippines, and they live on less than $1,000 a month, and many of them have been here for many years. Now, I did a startup budget for a video on what you should expect to spend in order to get established here. Now, I'll be expanding on that in another video before too long about coming to the Philippines. But take a look at that one. If you have any questions, you certainly can ask, and I will give you my opinion. I think everyone agrees that your budget will depend upon your lifestyle. Now, when you first get here, your budget's not going to be $600 a month. But once you're here, you get used to shopping for food at the public market. You have the utensils that are needed to cook with, those kind of. Then there's no reason you can't live on $600 a month, depending upon your rent. So a lot of those people probably retired. They got a pension somewhere, let's say $3,000 a month after 30 years or whatever it is. And this is the first time in their life they've ever felt anything near affluent. So they get themselves a condo up on the 20th floor and sit up there on the balcony looking down on everything. So now they get some kind of special joy of talking down to everyone and saying, oh, Les year's got as much money as me. Don't even think about coming here. A lot of these people are watching these videos because they're trying to gauge what it's like to come here, to live here, what they're going to need to expend. And then guys like that leave that kind of comments. And it's very hurtful. At first I was going to say I don't think they do it on purpose, but after I think about it, I think they really do it on purpose. I mean, let's face the facts. If you come here with $1,500 a month, your lifestyle here is going to be way better than it is in America. And if you're only getting $1,000 a month, keeping a roof over your head is not going to require having a roommate. You won't have to worry about going hungry. You can probably take a walk down by the beach or a nice park. Some of us, happiness is being content. It doesn't mean we need to be excited all the time. Now, I would suggest if you're at about $1,000 a month income that you have an exit strategy that you can count on if it doesn't work out for you here. Now, the way that I got to this initial budget is I was building a little house here, and it cost me X amount of dollars a month. I was building it out of my income, and I wanted to know how many months it would take me to build if I could save a certain amount of money. Turns out the budget, tight budget, I could eat well and live on $500 a month. Now what that meant was I could spend $1,300 a month finishing the little house that I'd started actually while I was in America. So that's what got me into cooking my own food, shopping at the public market, and that type of thing. Also, as I started going to the public market and riding the jeepneys, that's when I really started to branch out and meet people in this town. Now, I was eating all the food that I could eat. I was eating everything I wanted to eat, and I was still living on around $500 a month, and that includes all the electricity with 2 window-type air cons, which are more expensive, the electricity, water, etc., etc. That also can explain a little bit on how I got acclimated to the local area and how I started meeting people. So I was busy, active, doing things, and I wasn't suffering living on $500 a month. I was actually kind of happy that I could actually do that. This was the first time in many, many years that I could live on that percentage of my income. It was an achievement. Now, I know my story is way different than most expats, and that's because I come from a province point of view. Now, most expats, when they land, they're headed to the city. So that's why they don't really understand my point of view. Now, there's a lot of other ones, and you'll see who they are because the trolls will be leaving messages on this one, I assure you. So if you are making less than $1,500 a month, please leave a comment. Let us know how life is for you here today. That way, those in that income range who are contemplating coming to the Philippines can get an idea of what life is like on that income. Anyway, my friends, that archway at the end of the street is the end of Walking Street. It's also the end of this video. So if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe.